So, welcome everyone to Carving a New Path. My name is Andrea Hyland, and I am the host of this show, the founder of Heal My Voice, and the founder of the incubator and online co working space for women creatives. And just as we're getting started, if it's the first time you've been here, this podcast it began in 2020 in response to all the changes that were happening in March of 2020. And I just started inviting guests and conversations, people who had listened to their inner voice, had released things from the past, and had birthed new ways of being in the world. And so we talk about a variety of topics, and it all comes down to ideas that you can use to carve new paths for yourself. So, with that out of the way, I want to just say my guest today is Sandra Lee, and the topic is Heal the Mountains to Stay on the Path. So, Sandra and I met at the On Purpose Woman Global Community, and we became friends through a variety of connections, meetings, and events. And this is our first podcast together. So this will be a fun new territory for us to explore. Yay, us for showing up and
Yay!
trying new things together. Yay. So I asked Sandra to send me a few words to introduce her today. And so I'll begin with that by introducing her, and then we'll dive into this rich topic. When you have something important to accomplish and it's just not happening, one way of looking at it is that the flow of your energy is blocked. Sandra Lee helps women entrepreneurs increase sales and make progress towards their big picture goals by realigning their intentions with their soul's purpose. With exceptional intuitive awareness, the power of sound, and a touch of science, she helps you get back in the energetic flow and prioritizing the actions that matter. And if you're looking for a tagline of who she is, what she does, energetic initiator and life coach for women entrepreneurs. So, welcome, Sandra, and I'm going to turn this over to you to begin sharing something with the listeners.
Oh, my goodness, how wonderful. So, when you're in business, you have all these people telling you, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And they give you all these strategies. You don't need a strategy. If you are following somebody's strategy and it doesn't work for you, you are not in alignment. I look at it for my body and my mind and my business to work well. My energy needs to be flowing from the earth through my body and out the top of my head. I need to be in the flow. But anytime I am doing something where I'm confused, I don't know how, this doesn't feel right to me, I'm bad at this, my energy gets stuck. And my ability to be effective, my ability to use my brain, my ability to communicate, my ability to be effective in my business is completely cut off if I am doing things that are not right for me. So I support people in being in alignment, doing things that work so that I can be in the flow again. Thank you, Andrea, for
I love
having
that.
me.
Something that I want to just jump in here because something that you're saying, I think, is so important for people to realize that there's this old way of being in the world that says there is a right way and a wrong way to do something. And actually, that comes from just the toxic structures in our world, things that are actually changing right now that we're saying this doesn't work anymore. And so I so appreciate the way you just started that. And I really want the listeners to hear it isn't that there is a right way or a wrong way to do something. It is what is your way. And that is one of the ways that Sandra works with people. So I'm
As
just,
you say that,
Mhm.
as you say that, it
Yeah,
brings tears to my eyes. Like
yeah,
I'm almost crying thinking about it's like, yes, there's a right way and a wrong way. If
hmm
it's right for me, it's right for me.
yes.
If it's right for you, great, but that's not my way.
Mhm.
And there's all these experts out there saying you have to do it this way. And I have spent the past couple of years really working on building a business. And it's like, I'm bashing my head trying to do it this way that you say. And it's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so recognizing that that's part of what drives business, drives clients away is with I am doing things that are not in alignment with who I am. And so my energy is stuck.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to the person who's in it, and doesn't feel good to the people who are saying, "Do I want to work with you?" Or, "Wait, what is it that you're offering?" It's like it just doesn't land. You know what? I'm just going to jump in here with a question about for something for us to focus on. With this being the beginning of January, I mean, I know today I was even sitting it's December 30th. Okay, what are my goals for the year? I've got lots of things that I put out there, but everybody's making plans right now, and I see it over and over, setting goals, setting goals, setting goals. Tell me what you want to say about the setting of goals and about where we are as we end December and begin January.
I told you that I wanted to use the analogy of a path
Mhm.
for this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, whatever your goals are, imagine you're on a path and your goal, depending on how big it is, can be some ways down the path. If it's a big goal, it might be far, far away. And if it's something that's smaller, more doable, it may be closer. But just to see yourself on this path, I'm here. My goal that I'm going to is over there. And traveling on this path is how I get there. So, in the name of this talk, Andrea was talking about having these mountains in the way. The mountains are the barriers that I put in my path. Little barriers, boulders that I can walk around. That's not too bad. Bigger barriers. I don't know how. Nobody's going to listen to me. Who do I think I am? Those can be like huge mountain ranges in the path. And as I'm traveling along, I run into this rock. And if I am not prepared for this, I might sit down and say, oh, I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody's going to listen to me. And, Andrea was talking about the thing that I wrote yesterday as I was thinking about this. I was like, I'm just going to give up and go home. That has been me so many times. Turn around, give up, and go home. So, how can we heal the mountains? Heal all of those barriers, self imposed barriers that I put in my path.
It's so interesting because I want to ask you for some examples, and I just had this idea pop up. Before I started Heal My Voice, I used to walk towards this mountain that had the Hollywood sign, except the Hollywood sign was on the other side of the mountain. So every day I would walk towards that mountain and I would go to a coffee shop and I would write. And a lot of things were birthed there. Articles that I wrote, a blog talk radio show I started, and then hearing the words Heal My Voice. But what if my block is thinking I actually need to climb over that mountain to the Hollywood sign, but that the actual place was the coffee shop and I didn't need to? So anyway, And I think this is why it's so powerful to work with someone like you, because just in your description, it started to stimulate something in my mind of like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm thinking I need to actually climb that mountain, but I've already reached it. And this is the place where I sit and cultivate ideas and things will be birthed right here that I don't need to go there. So I just want to turn it over to you. Can you give an example of,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So here's an example like we were referring to a few minutes ago, where sometimes I'm headed towards the right goal, and sometimes I've labeled something, call it a goal, when it's not right for me. And here's an example. So, in my business building efforts, I hired a coach to help me learn how to effectively use a Facebook business page to build my business. She's been doing this forever, and she knows how to build the page, optimize the page, and then do ads. So, like, okay, I've heard that doing all this should be the way to do it, so I'm going to take this class. I hated that class. It was miserable. I told myself I should do this. I should go to the Hollywood sign.
right, right.
But, in reality, that was not the right way for me at all.
Mhm,
Not a question of beliefs, not believing in myself. Not, I was like, no, this is just the wrong vehicle for me.
mhm,
Okay. So sometimes I may have an intention at somebody else's recommendation that I do something that just plain is not the right thing for me. Now, I really believe in getting information from experts
mhm,
and listening to, yes, this is an effective way to do what you want to do. Then I get to run it through my filters. Is this actually right for me or not? I mean, I'm in a place now where I am deciding I am going to phase out of Facebook altogether and do another LinkedIn is what I'm going to start doing. And so it's like sometimes I'm on this path and it feels right, but it's like, well, maybe I need to shift. That's taking something that's not in alignment with me and aligning it. Saying just because I've been doing it this way, I have to stay there. That's not true. I can always adjust, shift, and have it be more consistent with where I feel like I am today.
So, what if you don't really know if you're stuck or not? So for instance, you're bringing up um, Facebook and feeling like that's the thing. And there are, let's face it, if we've been involved, if anybody's been involved with social media, you've been involved with it for years. You've seen many things come in and go. You've seen many things change over time. And I also want to just say for listeners who are like, well, I don't have a business or I'm not focused on this right now, I'll tell you that Sandra works with people on family things, in relationships. There's a lot. So we're kind of focusing right now on some of the business things that are coming up. And I just want to say there's, I could actually use an example of just things that have been going on in my family for the past few weeks, like am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? They want me to do this. I don't feel like I need to do that. It's like that whole place where you're kind of like going back and forth. And in business, it can be, do I stay on Facebook? Do I get off of Facebook? Do I go to LinkedIn? Do I go to, do I close my Twitter account? Like all these different places. And it can just feel a little crazy making, right? To be like, okay. And especially when you reach a point where you go, okay, so not everybody has the answers for me. Well, where are my answers? So could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, and I also want to speak to the family piece, the
Hmm.
other things in life piece.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that is not going the way you want, it's in the way and it's
Hmm.
going to affect everything.
For sure.
So let's take an example and use our mountain path. Okay. The person who I just spoke with, okay, she's where she is, and all of the relationships in her family with her are strained, difficult. So her intention is, I want to have all of these relationships be more peaceful and happy, and me be able to be myself, them be able to be themselves. When she reaches that point, everything in her life is going to be easier, including her business. When I am stressed out because my daughter's not talking to me, am I going to be able to focus on business related things? Not very well. Anytime something is not the way you want it to be, it's a roadblock that's going to affect everything. It's really easy to be conscious of this when it comes to pain, for example. If somebody has headaches all of the time, their ability to focus and do anything related to business is going to be really compromised. Their ability to have big goals and accomplish them is completely shut down if there's physical pain. But things like relationships with family, or, if you have a business with employees and discontent, or somebody not doing their part, or somebody not completing their tasks because they're not really bought into the purpose that your business is, all of these things are these roadblocks. And when there's these roadblocks, they block the flow. They
Yeah.
keep me from being able to make things happen in my business if that's what I want to do. If what I want to do is I want to be an artist and I want to make these paintings, the same thing happens. If there's distractions in my life, if there's pains, there's things that aren't working, my ability to paint, my ability to write my book, whatever my goal is that I've set on the path, whatever it is that's blocking me is keeping me from getting to where I want to in whatever my goal is.
Yeah, wow. It just brings up so many different things. One thread that's in my brain is about the one of the limitations that I find with myself and clients is when there's a should that comes up. This is the way it should be. This is the way you should be doing it. And it can be something like, I mean, we're recording this in December. And, between like the end of October and mid January, there are a lot of people who celebrate different holidays during this time. And many of those holidays bring you together with family where there's either a connection or a disconnection. And it can be a time when maybe you started setting boundaries with your family in a different way 20 years ago. And yet here it is once again. And like the boundaries are being tested. The almost like there's a denial of what you have said in the past. Then the feelings, and I would say, from a personal point of view, it's because I know that somewhere inside of me, there's still a should that even though the boundaries were set, and so I'm just saying it to the listeners, let this be your experience of whatever that is. But I would say that there's a lot of feelings that come up this time of year, and it can be that there isn't a connection with family or family is no longer there. And so there's loss and grief. But anyway, it's a complex time of year. So it's common to feel something. But what it's bringing up for me is these times where I think I should be writing my book without needing support from a coach. Okay. Or of which actually, thank goodness I've gotten over that one, that I do have Sophia Wren is wonderful. And nobody writes a book by themselves. It's like, I mean, if you really want to write a book. um, But there's shoulds about what we should be doing for the holidays. And even when you've made changes, it can still be tested or there can be boundaries. You can say, wait a minute, didn't I get rid of that boulder before? Why is that boulder here? So I don't know. What's coming up for you around all those different layers that I'm sharing here?
Oh my goodness. So many ways to work with the boulders. Because all of those things that you're talking about, personal, business, they're all boulders in the path.
Yep.
And if it's stopping me from making progress and getting through, or if I'm having to weave around the boulders or climb over, you know, it's like these are the things that are stopping me. And one of the takeaways that I want people to get to is if I want to get somewhere and it's not happening the way I think it should, it's here.
Mhm.
Ultimately, not like this is the truth, but this is what I think is most empowering is for people to, whatever it is that's going on the way I don't want it to go, if I take responsibility for it, then I have the ability to impact it.
Mhm.
Like taking 100% responsibility. But they did, it's like that may be true.
Mhm.
Somebody else may have done something that contributes to the issue. But for me to take 100% responsibility for it enables me over here to do something to start to influence the situation. And this is me taking control of my boulders instead of running against a boulder. It's like, oh, they're doing that. I don't have anything I can do about it. That puts them in control of my boulder and not me.
Mhm.
By saying this person is not talking with me and I have nothing I can do about that, which is where my client is with her daughter, right? It's like, well, you can accept that if you want to, I suppose, but that gives the other person the control.
Yeah.
What if you have ways that you can start to influence that? I was talking with her about dripping things into the conversation, just a little word here and there
Mhm.
that can start to change the dynamic.
Yeah.
It takes something from being completely out of my control and gives me a way to be able to work with it, to modify it, to feel like I am not totally out of control in this situation. I've suddenly reclaimed my life, my ability to be self expressed, my ability to do what I want, my ability to be seen. And if the other person doesn't respond in the way that I think they should, I get to choose how I respond to that as well. So it takes this massive boulder and it's like, oh, shrink it a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
shrink it some more. And then when I interact with that person in this different way, who knows what becomes possible? Because the other person, if they choose to, starts to behave differently because
Yeah.
of input being different. Whole new levels of relationship become possible. And this woman's daughter can actually start being more effective in her life, which is all the mother wants anyway,
Mhm.
right? So it's like taking these things that seem like mountains, impossible to deal with, and by taking responsibility for them, makes them more manageable.
Mhm.
Shrinks mountains into boulders, boulders into rocks.
Yeah.
And then it reaches a point where I am just more effective in my life. And it's like that person is like, oh, look at that. Well, I'm just going to keep going
Mhm.
and not be stopped by it at all.
Yeah.
That's ultimately where we're going. Love that.
Yeah, and it reminds me also of when we have roles in the family and things that we have played out. And I I mean, one of the things I've really worked with in the last few years is recognizing when I think I need to jump in and rescue someone from something or be present for something, when actually the guidance I've received from my practices and all is having a daily prayer where I connect with my heart, where I can really send love, that's enough. And
Ah,
it isn't my job to run in. I mean, because then you deny other people the chance to climb their own mountains, you know? Yeah. So that's been a huge one for me. And not to say that it doesn't trigger me once in a while, like, no, I should be doing. Actually, no, the guidance, I know the guidance is loving kindness, and then just a few lines, even saying, may you be happy, may you be
Mm.
healthy, may you be safe, may you live your life with ease. That that that's powerful to be able to send that kind of energy to someone and believe that they are capable of living their life without a rescue mission.
And it takes being strong and solid enough in where I am to be able to then let go. I have to be okay with if they don't, if my child does not do what I think is best for them.
Mhm. Mhm.
I need to give over responsibility for their life
Mhm.
to them. And that can be so hard.
I know, which is why we need support. So, speak to, give us that line. Why is it that we need support? Even though we're demonstrating it here in our conversation, to just,
Here's
yeah.
here's how I talk about that. I'm too close to myself
Mm.
to be able to see clearly. I am in my same old way of thinking over and over and over and over and over again and over and over. And it can be really hard for me to see myself from outside the box.
Mhm.
It's like being in a cereal box and not being able to read the label. I
Yeah.
need other people. I need other people.
Mhm.
One of the things I do is human design, a
Mhm.
chart based on your birthday that tells you a lot about who you are. And something powerful that I learned from human design is everyone needs people. Nobody can do it all alone. It's not possible.
Right.
And I hadn't thought of this before, but the part of me that feels like I have to do it all myself, that's just like experts telling me this is the way I should do it, except it's internal. I
Right.
should do this. I should do this. I should be perfect. I should be able to do it all myself and not need help. It's not possible. And so I, here's how I say it. Anytime something is not going the way I want it to, look at what's going on over here. Am I shitting on myself? Am I telling myself I'm worthless? Boulders.
Mhm.
Am I telling myself, what do you think you're doing? And then a big question: how old do I feel?
That's a good one. Yeah. They're
What
all good ones, but that one just really hit me in
what
that.
age are you being?
Hmm. Hmm.
So what I say is my inner 6-year-old is pulling my circuit breakers. I have something I need to accomplish, and the inner part of me that feels like I'm bad and I'm worthless, everything I do is wrong. I used to promise myself I was never going to speak again, tally the
Mm.
number of times I got in trouble in a little notebook. This was me at 6,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So my inner 6-year-old says, this is a dangerous situation and you aren't doing it, and shuts me down. Okay. So when I am challenged, when it's like, okay, how old am I feeling? My inner 6-year-old is like running circles and panicked. I can take care of her and say, oh, you know what? I get it. This is scary. You don't have to take care of this.
Hmm.
I can handle it. I'm the
Yeah.
one that's got the body, right? The 6-year-old does not have the body. So I'm the
Hmm.
one that's going to take the action. And keeping the little 6-year-old safe is what makes it possible for me to do what I don't know how to do. How am I going to build a business if I have to know how to do everything? It's not possible.
Right.
To get where I need to go, I have to do things that I don't know how to do.
Hmm.
If my circuit breaker conversation is, I don't know how, because for me, that's what it is. That's the circuit breaker, right? Then every time I don't know how to do something, I'm going to quit. I've done that way too many times. right? But allowing myself to heal the child, heal the part, that felt like everything I did was wrong. This takes my boulder and makes them more manageable so that I can actually get around them. The reaction still comes up, the boulder is still there, but I can travel the path.
Yeah. No, I love that. Oh my gosh, this has been so good. I'm just looking at the time. How time flies. Thank you so much for coming today and having this conversation. I feel like I had a private session with you, even though there are lots of listeners here, and I'm glad you're here. And anyone who just resonates with this or has taken a gem, there's two things I want to do. I want to just see if there's anything you want to share, any other takeaways or something else that's coming up. And then I also want you to talk about the Biofield Tuning group healing session, that the free gift that's coming up. So the floor is yours. Share in whatever order you would like to here.
The takeaway I always like to leave people with is that you are always living your purpose.
Mm. Mhm.
This is something I learned from human design. Every single person has a purpose that they contribute to the world, to the universe. Every single person. And there are a lot of people who doubt that they make a difference. So here's what I say: even when you're taking out the garbage, you're contributing your purpose, no
Mhm.
matter what.
Yeah.
So if
I
you
love that.
struggle with finding it, there's all kinds of guidance. I can do all sorts of things, help you understand human design, whatever, help you heal the boulders that keep you from believing in yourself. That's just always, always, always making a difference.
Mhm.
And I am doing an Energize Your Vision Biofield Tuning group session to help you take the goals that you have for the coming year, which again are just on the path towards the bigger goals later, and doing sound healing and intuitive guidance, working on whatever it is are your boulders so that you can shrink them down and be more in action, creating what you want. I'm all about change the world dreams, making a bigger difference than I've been making, having an impact in the world. But a lot of times I don't take action on those things
Mm.
because I don't believe, or there's not enough time, or not enough money, or whatever. What happens when you take those beliefs, because those are all beliefs, and you shrink them and move past them and energize your dreams, the things that you really want? So, the Energize Your Vision Biofield Tuning group sound healing for your 2025 business goals, in this case, is going to be one of many free gifts that are available through a giveaway, the Grand Connection giveaway. So I am participating in this giveaway, and it's available for the whole month of January to get the Grand Connection giveaway. And my Energize Your Vision session is one of the free gifts available. So there's going to be a link to the Grand Connection giveaway.
Yep.
And
Everything's in the show page description, everyone. So
yes,
ways to get in touch with Sandra now, ways to get in touch with her in the future. It's all there. So I just wanted to reassure
yes.
everyone that that's there.
And the group session will be in February. And I anticipate that there are going to be a lot of people participating because the Grand Connection is a pretty big group and they know the value of the things that are in these giveaways. And I've purposely made this a little bit enticing. So, energize your business goals, and the power of group energy.
Mhm.
So, what if you have a whole bunch of like excited entrepreneurs in this group together and we're all amping up the energy of our goals for the year?
Yay. Woo! I love that. I love that. Sandra, thank you so much for being here. This was such a, I feel like I feel changed and impacted by this conversation. So I really want to thank you for that, for taking the time to be here. And thank you for the listeners. You know, if there's one thing, adapt it to your life. The stories that we've told, the examples we've shared, this is about living your life. So tune in to what it is for you and use that in whatever way best serves you. So thank you and bye bye now.
Thank you.